This is a special report from About Space Today.
In 1943, the secret effort to build the world's first atomic bomb spawned a secret city called Project Y. The Mesa-top fortress had one phone in the office of J. Robert Oppenheimer and a single post office box miles away in Santa Fe. With the Trinity test in 1945, the secret was out.
Welcome to Special Report. I'm David Denault. Well, today the Los Alamos National Laboratory is very different and continues to play an important role in space. And the Curiosity rover carried CamCam to Mars in 2012. And now let's learn of its discoveries and recently found proof of past life on Mars. Next, as America and the world is listening to About Space Today. Come to the land of orange groves and palm trees. Come to the land of theme parks. Come to the land of sunny beaches and the azure waters of the Atlantic Ocean. So come and visit Florida for lasting memories. Email us. Email david.ddcruiseandtours@gmail.com or call D&D Cruise and Tours at 877-747-8631 for your next family, cruise, or theme park vacation. Let us provide you your next visit with our travel experience, not experimentation. We are members of IATAN and CLIA. Email david.ddcruiseandtours@gmail.com. Serving the Southeast, traveler since 1985. Welcome back. So what is CamCam and what does it do?
I'm Roger Wiens. I'm a senior scientist at Los Alamos National Laboratory. I am the principal investigator of the CamCam instrument, which is on the Curiosity rover exploring Mars. I'm also the principal investigator of the SuperCam instrument. CamCam is a revolutionary instrument that is designed to remotely and rapidly investigate the composition of rocks and soils anywhere within about 25 feet of the Curiosity rover. CamCam has a powerful laser that takes the energy of 1 million light bulbs and projects it into a spot the size of a pinhead, and it does it for 5 billionths of a second. And with that, it creates a little plasma. And then we can look at these plasmas with a spectrometer, which tells us the color spectrum, which tells us the composition of these rocks and soils that we want to analyze. Since landing on Mars, CamCam has analyzed almost 1,500 rocks and soils along the rover's traverse. SuperCam has two new techniques that are both designed to tell us the mineralogy of the targets. And so this is very important for understanding where these rocks and soils came from and what kind of history they went through. People want to know, why would we want to explore Mars? But we could be standing here 120 years ago asking the very same question about why in the world would we want to explore human flight?
And most recently, CamCam discovered a rock from a riverbed that just might prove that life has existed on Mars.
My name is Nina Lanza, and I'm a staff scientist at Los Alamos National Laboratory, and I work on the CamCam instrument on the Curiosity rover. We were in an area of Gale Crater, and we decided to pull up to an outcrop just to see what was around. And part of the outcrop actually had these weird little fins sticking out of it. So we figured, why don't we shoot one of these with CamCam and see what it's made out of? When we looked at the data that we got back, we realized these had to be manganese oxides because the abundance of manganese was so high. Oxides are a family of minerals that only really form in very specific environments. We were so excited to find these high manganese concentrations because this isn't something we ever expected to see on Mars. So manganese oxides require two things to form. You need a water and you need a lot of oxygen or some other oxidant. When you look at the terrestrial geological record, we actually don't see manganese oxides until after the rise of photosynthesis. So after we got oxygen in our atmosphere. Even though Mars, we know there was water there, we never thought there was a lot of oxygen. So when we saw these manganese oxides, we had to ask ourselves, was there a lot of oxygen in the atmosphere on Mars in the past?
And there's more. NASA's rover recently discovered enormous amounts of water beneath the surface of Mars, which surprised many people who had previously thought that Mars was nothing more than a rocky and dusty planet. Mars continues to be one of the most fascinating planets in our solar system. And in a Voyager podcast, they say researchers believe that up to 99% of the water is still present.
More than 4 billion years ago, the outer core of Mars cooled, turning off the dynamo that maintained the magnetic field. As a result, the planet was exposed to the solar wind, which ripped away the atmosphere, allowing the planet's water to evaporate into space. Mars currently appears to be a barren desert with riverbeds, deltas, and deep ocean basins pointing to the water that once existed there. However, a recent discovery has experts both excited and perplexed. Scientists are ecstatic after discovering tons of secret water on Mars. Is it because it denotes the presence of life? Or are we just a step closer to conquering Mars? A robotic rover recently discovered enormous amounts of water beneath the surface of Mars, which surprised many people who had previously thought of Mars as nothing more than a rocky and dusty planet. Mars is one of the most fascinating planets in our solar system. Mars is a world unto itself. One theory suggests that there was once life on this planet billions of years ago because the surface is solid. This red planet has been a popular subject of fiction and science fiction, but it is also a hotspot for researchers. The surface of Mars appears to be dry at the very least. Researchers, however, believe that up to 99% of the water is still present. Instead of escaping into outer space, it sank into the Martian sand and sandstone. All of Mars's primordial water had to go somewhere when the planet's atmosphere collapsed. This answer has always been the most straightforward, but since 1997, NASA has landed 5 rovers on Mars, 2 of which, Curiosity and Perseverance, are currently active and investigating the planet. Last February, Ingenuity made history by becoming the first helicopter to land on Mars. Reconnaissance, Maven, and a slew of other human-built spacecraft have been launched into Mars's orbit. Scientists are ecstatic about a new discovery found by one of these orbiters. The ExoMars orbiter of the European Space Agency has identified substantial volumes of water in the Val Marineris Canyon, the solar system's largest known canyon. According to experts, water ice could account for 40% of the near-surface material in the region of 15,830 square miles, that's 41,000 square kilometers. Data from the Trace Gas Orbiter's TGO Fine Resolution Epithermal Neutron Detector, or FRIEND for short, discovered exceptionally high levels of hydrogen, which, coupled with oxygen, makes up water. Mars may have harbored life at some point in its history, and evidence of water could be a key indicator that the planet was previously habitable or that life may still exist there. For centuries, wind and water have eroded the Martian surface, smoothing out and widening the Val Marineris Canyon. Compared to the Grand Canyon in Arizona, this canyon is more than 2,500 miles or 4,000 kilometers long and 5 miles or 8 kilometers deep. According to NASA, this massive canyon would reach from New York to California if the Val Marineris existed on Earth. According to space aficionados, this isn't the first time a trace of water has been found on Mars. A vast lake formerly existed in the Jezero crater on Mars. According to the Perseverance rover's finding, there has been recurring evidence of frozen water on the surface of Mars over the years. However, it's crucial to note that this specific finding holds significance for 2 reasons. The vast majority of Mars's water is found frozen near the planet's poles. It's possible that this newly discovered water is likewise frozen, but because it's closer to Mars's equator, it's more likely that the water keeps evaporating. This suggests that some specific, as yet unclear mix of conditions must be present in the Val Marineris to maintain the water, or that it is being replenished, according to the ESA. Using this technology, water can be detected as deep as 3.28 feet or 1 meter below the Martian surface. The fact that it is so much closer to the Martian surface than previously thought makes this new water discovery all the more interesting.
So based on these findings, are we closer to finally admitting that past life on Mars existed? And what do you think? Follow About Space today for news and information. Listen to America in Space each Friday with Space Coast News Editor Dawn Meyer, a 28-year veteran of the Space Shuttle program. And join John Gomez for This Week in Space on Tuesdays. And listen to my special reports twice monthly. Thanks for joining me from your home or where you work. I'm David Denault, and this has been Special Report on About Space Today.
This has been a special report from About Space Today.